This is the first part of the final review. So, let's get started. Alright, based on the given information, what can you conclude and why? First thing you know is angle H is congruent to angle L. So this one is congruent to that one. Angle line HJ is congruent to JL. HJ is congruent to JL, and we already know that these two are congruent. So we now know that HIJ is congruent to JKL. HIJ is congruent to JKL. LKJ. And it's angle side angle. Name the theorem of postulate that lets you immediately. Okay, so here we just need to know that we know that these two are congruent to each other. So we have side, angle, side. Moving on to number 3. Okay. The next part is the proof. 2-column proof. It's given RS is congruent to UT. RS is congruent to UT. Oops. Sorry. Wrong one. RS is congruent to UT. RT is congruent to US. And we know this one is congruent to this one by the reflexive property. Okay, after the reflexive property, so I got side, side, side. So reflexive property, side, side, side. Okay. Given. Okay. DAC is congruent to DAC. Definition of angle bisector. AC is congruent to AC, the reflexive property. CA bisects CA bisects DCB. So DAC is congruent to BCA. So it should say DCA, not DAC. DCA is congruent to BCA, definition of angle bisector. So those two should be congruent together. So the answer we have here is angle side angle. Moving on to the next one. Maybe this one's right. The missing reason to complete the proof. They give you all of this information. AF is congruent to DE. AF is congruent to DE. Angle A is congruent to angle D. Okay, AB is congruent to CD. AB is congruent to CD. So this one is congruent to this one. AB is congruent to CD. Is equal to CD, definition of congruent segment. AB plus BC is equal to CD plus BC. Okay. We can say this is reflexive because this part is the same. Okay, AC is congruent to the definition of angle. Okay, so now we have this side angle side to complete it.
Okay, when I have 65, do not split how much is my area.
Number C, write a two-color group to show. Okay. I can start off with NO is congruent to PM. This is given. On 2, angle 1 is congruent to angle 2 as given. So far, this is congruent to this. NO is congruent to PM. This is congruent to this. And OR is congruent to MR. Okay. So we want to show that OQR is congruent to this triangle is congruent to this triangle over here. Okay. So next thing we're going to say is this is congruent to this. Okay. So angle NQO is congruent to PQM. And that is reflexive property. Okay. That's 3, 4. So I can say triangle NQO is congruent to triangle PQM. And that is angle side. Then I can say OQ is congruent to MQ. Because closing parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So now this one and this one, then this one is congruent. QR is congruent to QR, reflexive.
What do you need flying? All the sides. How much is in all the sides? Sorry, I can't see. Why? Just plus. You need five for fiber. What kind of fiber is that?
So now I have this.
What kind of fiber?
I have this, and I have this. So OQR is congruent to MQR because of side.
Do you need to find how much is here?
Okay, so far now we know CB is perpendicular to BD. CB is perpendicular. CB is perpendicular to BD. Oops. Make it to my pen. So this is perpendicular. DE is perpendicular to EC. DE is perpendicular to EC. Okay, and CB is congruent to DE. CB is congruent to DE. We have to prove that DBC is congruent to CED. Okay? So the first thing we do, we list all our given, okay? CBD and DEC are right into definition of perpendicular. Now we have CBD is congruent to DEC. Okay, because right angles are congruent. Okay, CD is congruent to CD. So that is reflexive. Okay, and DBC is congruent to, see right here I have H, hypotenuse, leg. Okay. Okay, write a paragraph proof. Okay, this is a paragraph. There's 4 things that we need to do. What are we proving? What are we given? What we can prove? And then the conclusion. So, the first part is we are going to prove triangle ABC is congruent to triangle. See, this tells us right here what we are, okay, this part right here tells us what we're given, okay, this, using the diagram, okay, this tells us what we proved, and our, using the because statement, this is our conclusion, okay.
Yes.
The last one is a 2-column proof. I'll try to do this very quickly because we're running out of time. Angle BAC is congruent to, this is what we're given, DAC. BAC is congruent to DAC. Okay. Angle DCA is congruent to BCA. Okay, those are all angles. That's what's given. Okay, this right here, CA is congruent to CA. 3 congruent statements. That means that we can prove the triangle then. Okay. So we can prove DCA, triangle DCA is congruent to triangle BCA. Because of angle side angle. But ultimately we need to know that BC is congruent to CD. BC, this one is congruent to this one. Because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent.